December the 3rd. Clemson wins the ACC championship, the final 39-10. What a game. What a flipping game. It was just, it was nuts, and what really makes it nuts is that Cade Klubnik finally comes into the ball game. We'd heard beforehand that it already been decided Cade's going to come in on the third or fourth series. He's going to play. So between you and I honestly believe that had DJ came out there and orchestrated 2 consecutive touchdown drives, that probably would not have happened. And if it did, it might have been for a couple of plays. But I think that they already set the expectation with DJ just in case there was kind of a division or maybe some type of lackluster feeling among the team, which is very smart by Clemson's coaching staff. So congratulations to Clemson winning another ACC championship, missing it last year. And quite honestly, I mean, it is what it is because Clemson blew it last year. I believe that had Clemson, hold on one second. Someone said it sounds bad. Oh, Lord. Here we go. I forgot. I keep forgetting that my my headset, or not my headset, but my sound is not that great. Here we go. Can everybody hear me well now? Does it sound better? That's all I'm going to ask. Does it sound better? Chase, does it sound better? I know that, oh my Lord, that is much better. Yeah, it's because I've got this little clip-on mic, like I'm being wired on a drug deal, you know, and I'm working with the cops to bust a dealer. I know. Clemson wins their 11th game. They win an ACC championship. I can't remember how many this is, but, you know, last year you had Pittsburgh, you had Wake Forest. It was a blowout. They had the fake slide by Pickett. And for me, I mean, I know this is totally off subject. That's not the reason you clicked on this video, but you would think that the rules committee, not the officials are just implementing the rules, and then they train the officials in the off season. You would think that the rules committee would have anticipated a fake slide. They didn't, and then they did. But anyway, you can tell that really sits sour with me. I think it's ridiculous to penalize these defensive players, and you know, when they make certain moves, and then they go to honor the move, and an offensive player takes advantage of it. But that's the wussification, as I like to call it, of football. So I predict in about 10 years, quarterbacks will have flags on them, and you have to pull the flag. So you heard it first here. Clemson wins the ACC championship 39-10. Cade Klubnik comes in 20 of 24, 279 yards, and 1 touchdown. That's right, 1 touchdown. 20 of 24. We also had something that was cool in a way and extremely bothersome. Of course, Bo Collins, our leading receiver overall. I'm talking about the man who comes out, catches the ball, he can pull away, he's fighting. I think he's the most complete wide receiver that we have. He didn't play the game, and quite honestly, let's just be honest with ourselves. And I mean, it's kind of bothersome that Cole Turner comes out and he is the only person this entire season who has had a 100-yard plus receiving game this entire season. That is, congratulations to him, 3 receptions, 101 yards receiving. But at the same time, it's kind of sad considering the talent that we do have at wide receiver. So. But let's take away some of the pluses of the game, because if you've been following my channel this week, you know that I've really said some hard truths about our coaching staff, and I'm going to go ahead and stop here and tell you something. The reason that I'm happy right now is because the coaching staff made the decisions. Listen to me, made the decisions that they should have made. And I really don't know what has been going on with DJ in his personal life. I know that last year a lot of stuff was going on, and quite honestly, I think DJ is playing in the wrong system. I have said this, and I'll say this again, especially this season. Last year, I was trying to figure out what was going on, but I'm going to say this again, and if it finds its way to DJ, I would actually hope so. DJ and Clemson fans, I'm going to tell you this. If you've ever listened to me, you know that I am going to say even the most unpopular thing as long as it's the... I don't care what it is as long as it's the truth, all right? The reason I'm doing this channel and not saying this on... Bobby Durkins is a character I created that I have fun with. This is actually how I feel, okay? So a lot of times I do tell the truth with Bobby, how I feel about certain things, but also it's Bobby Durkins. It's a character I created. Over here, I just get straight to the point, and I'm going to say exactly how I feel, and that's the reason, as I said, I created this channel. Also, my oldest son is sitting over here. He's the one who told me like 5 years ago I should have done it, and I should have listened to him sooner. With that said, I hope this finds its way to DJ. DJ is a good quarterback, folks. He is in the wrong system. And if Clemson's coaches are not going to change their approach to complement his good abilities, because I've seen him throw some passes that will curl your toenails. There's no other guys who's going to throw those passes. He's not getting lucky, all right? He actually has the ability. He is not a running quarterback. He's not an RPO quarterback, but that's fine. There's a lot of guys in the NFL right now who are not running the ball, and they have a lot of success and they have tons of money. So my hope is that DJ will find a place where he can go in and throw the ball, and they're not going to ask him to run it. Because I will say this, imagine if your coach says, hey, I'll put you in as a starter, but you got to run the ball, and you're not really a runner. Are you really going to go back to your coach and say, hey, don't ask me to run the ball? No, you're going to do what you can. So I think as us Clemson fans, win or lose tonight, we need to back off of DJ. And I've been saying this now, especially a lot this season. So you can take that or not. Cade Klubnik, on the other hand, came out. He did a great job. He runs the system very well. The energy that he has, he brings to the field. One of the sideline reporters said that the energy that the sideline had, especially on the defensive side, actually made a lot of sense. It made a lot of sense. They were like really excited. They were ready to go. They were fired up. They were playing. And we know, and I've talked about this a lot, that Nick Eason, during the Notre Dame game, went to Dabo and said, look, you've got to do something. Okay? You have to do something. You're going to have to make a change at quarterback. You know, Nick Eason was around at Clemson before Sweeney was anything more than a wide receivers coach. So they go way back. Okay? So I'm just saying here, Nick was right. Clemson should have been, it's unfair to DJ to put him out there and play a system that is not right, okay? That's not right for him. And if he is suffering with depression, if he is fighting personal things, folks, him going out there and failing and then having an entire fan base, and forget the fan base, turn on ESPN, they're talking about DJ and how terrible he's doing and everything. Do you think that helps depression? No, it doesn't. And so my point in saying that is, you're not helping him, you're not helping Klubnik, you're not helping the rest of the team, you're not helping Streeter call plays, you're not helping your wide receivers, you're definitely not helping your defensive players, and then the recruits who are coming in, like this kid, Vizina, I think that's his name, or Vizini, coming in out of Alabama. What does that say to him? What does that say to him? It says that, hey, they'll sit me no matter if I'm the man for the job or not. I mean, I'm glad to see Klubnik come out there. I really enjoyed the play. I didn't even know that Maffa was left-handed, but I mean, good grief. So it was good to see him come out. I'm going to go over a couple of numbers. You know, I'm not really one to like read over numbers and stuff like that, because if you want to read stats, if you want to go check them out, you can go check them out on yourself. But since it's a championship game, Clemson winning 39-10, I'll go over a few of them. By the way, Drake May from North Carolina, what a player. That's a true freshman. You got to think, that kid was playing high school football this time last year. Congratulations to him. What a talent. What an ability. And, you know, when you look at your competitors, you need to show them honor. Josh Downs, what a player. And I don't want to be too hard on Sean McDonough, the announcer, because, I mean, he's announcing games every week. But I'm going to tell you this, and maybe this is because I'm from the upstate of South Carolina, and I grew up close to the Georgia line. But I am going to tell you something just straight up. When he was talking about Josh Downs and Barrett Carter from Clemson and how they played at the same high school, and he was like, that must be a pretty good high school. Yeah, they played at North Gwinnett, one of the top high schools in the country. I mean, that's Metro Atlanta. They have a lot of talent out there in the Metro Atlanta area. And so when he said something about, North Gwinnett must be pretty good. Yeah, they're really good. They're flipping amazing. So let's dive into some stats. Got my laptop here, so if you lose me for half a second, I didn't leave, or maybe I did. Brent Jones says he graduated from North Gwinnett. Now, Brent, I know that you're surprised that Bobby Durkins is not here. Bobby Durkins may be here later. But there's a lot of things that's building up there. I'll get to that later. But let's go over some of the stats for the game, if I can pull these up real quick. Here we go. Now, North Carolina won at different stages of the ball. I mean, when you see a 39-10 win by Clemson, you kind of step back and you say, man, I mean, North Carolina must really not be hitting on much. But the truth is, North Carolina had some good moments. Clemson just really took advantage when they had the chance. They had the ball. And by the way, that pick six by Nate Wiggins, especially the season Nate had early on, it's crazy. Chase is leaving. He's got to be in the hospital tomorrow. I know what it is. It's for they're going to cut some type of sickness out of your rectum. I know it is. Now, Chase is a doctor, and I'll leave it at that. So, okay, Chase. All right. Everybody go down. I should find out what hospital you work at, and we should all show up with just the most weird request in the world for you to take a look at. So, anyway. No, Chase, you go to bed. I'm surprised you're still up at 12 right now. So, go to sleep and get some rest. The Tigers win tonight. So, let's talk about total yards. In this game, North Carolina had more first downs than Clemson. They had 26 first downs. Clemson had 17. Both teams were 0 for 1 on the fourth down efficiencies. Let me see. Basically the same yardage. Clemson had 385 total yards. North Carolina had 384 total yards. I mean, this is weird. By the way, there's 60 people in here, and there's 13 thumbs up. Unless you just absolutely hate this, I mean, y'all, hit the thumbs up. I mean, good grief, it's free. I mean, it'd be different if I was diving into your bank account and taking money away. So just hit the thumbs up, pass it along to anybody who likes it. And if you have not subscribed, flip and subscribe. Dude, I just got 10 thumbs up right off the bat, so thank you so much. Now, Clemson passed the ball for 317. North Carolina passed it for about 273. Clemson had 68 rushing yards. North Carolina had 111. That's kind of eyebrow raising. But the key stat that will really make you go, is Clemson had no turnovers in this game. North Carolina had 3 turnovers. North Carolina also had the ball for 35 minutes. Clemson had the ball for 25 minutes. So let me tell you this. I believe in the ABCs of football. One of the reasons Clemson lost the game last week against South Carolina, and once again, South Carolina, if you're a South Carolina fan and you're here, you won the game last week. It's over. We can talk about ifs and buts and this, that, and the other. South Carolina won the game. 1 point or whatever. They won the ball game. It's over. What should have been done is a could have, would have, should have, maybe should have. It's over, okay? The truth is South Carolina won the game, and they took advantage of it. So hats off to them. With that said, if Clemson would have made, I think, had played Cade Klubnik last week, we would be looking at a different result. We don't know that. History is in the books, and that's it. But going on to the ifs and this, that, and the other, Clemson had the ball for only 25 minutes. It's not how many minutes you have the ball. It's what you do with the ball when you have the ball. And this is another scenario where Clemson had the ball 10 minutes less game time than North Carolina. They end up winning by 29 more points. So it shows you, what are you doing with the ball? What are you doing with the ball? And then we have Philip Medlin. He just said something that's very, very key here, Philip, and you're 100% right. Sweeney decided to make the tough decision. You know, tough decision. And I just want to say this as well. Someone sent me a message this week on some of my really dove into my criticism of Clemson's coaching staff and what's going on. Not just Sweeney. I don't think Sweeney needs to be fired. I never called for that. I did call for a reevaluation of Brandon Streeter, but as I went through the videos, I called for the reevaluation of each and every offensive coach. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, these guys are being paid basically $500,000 to coach a position. I don't take that back. These guys are paid a lot of money to make the right decisions, and it's very, very tough. But someone reached out to me, and they said this to me. They were criticizing me and insulting me and said this. And by the way, when I get on live streams like this and I put my opinions out there, I need to be a big boy and be ready for people to tell me exactly what they think about me. And that's just part of the gig, you know. But with that said, they said, hey, they played college football. Now they coach for a small, they coach a positions coach at a small college, and took a shot at me because I'm not a coach, and said I wouldn't know the particular plays and particular schemes. And I responded to him. I said, well, first, thanks for coming on, offering your opinion / insult. And one of the things I said to them is said, look, I may not know all of the schemes, and I may not know all of the X's and O's, but let me give you an example. If I take my car that is not properly operating to a mechanic, and I take it to the mechanic and say, listen, something is wrong with the car. It's not running right. It's sputtering. It's having a hard time cranking up, running, this, that, and the other. I mean, it's still got here, but something's wrong. And the mechanic looks over it, comes back to me and says, hey, your car's fine. And then I crank up the car and it barely cranks, it barely runs, and then it will kind of run. And then I go back to him and I say, hey, listen to me, something is wrong. Listen to me. Something is wrong. I need you to work on it. And then the mechanic has the audacity to look at me and say, hey, I'm the mechanic here. I'm paid to be a mechanic. I have a question for you. How many cars have you fixed? How long have you owned a shop? I bet you wouldn't know the difference between a transmission and a drive shaft. Well, folks, let me tell you this. First of all, I do know the difference between a transmission and a drive shaft, but just for example, I could probably look at him and say, you know what, you're right. But just because I'm not a mechanic does not mean I don't know when a car is not properly running. That's the same thing that's been going on with our football team. So with all of that said, we know that something's wrong, but something's been wrong with the team. and we needed the proper plays. We needed the proper plays called. We needed the proper decisions made. And tonight we saw what happened when Cade was sent out, won the game 39-10. The play calling looked better. All I can say, and I know my screen is freezing up, and I'm sorry about that, y'all. But I'll just end with this. The reason that Clemson's offense looked better tonight is because the guys who are being paid $500,000, $800,000, $900,000 each, and then Sweeney $10 million a year to make the right calls. Tonight they made the correct calls, and guess what happened? It yielded not only a victory. It's not like Clemson won, 14-10. And this was a game that I couldn't even make a call on. I didn't even know who was going to win this game. I had no clue who was going to win this game. Not because of talent. I've never had a question of Clemson's talent. I had a question of Clemson's coaching. And it really came out. Their coaching made the right decision. And just by putting the right player, not players, player, singular, on the field, Clemson has a 29-point victory in the ACC championship. And they win 39-10. And so I am very happy for Clemson, and I wish them the very best. We will see tomorrow who ends up in the college football playoff, and I'm just going to go ahead and give you kind of a sneak preview of how I feel. By the way, 170 people in here, only 37 thumbs up. Hit the thumbs up. Hit the subscribe if you hadn't subscribed. I mean, it's free. So, if Ohio State ends up in the playoffs, that is sick. And that's all I'm going to say, because this is not like they lost by 20-something points in the middle of the season, then they revamped. No, they lost last week by 20-something points. All right, and that needs to be considered. They have not played that well. I hope they don't get in. Believe it or not, I would way rather Alabama get in over Ohio State. So, I mean, it's when you consider how many points they lost those, they had 2 losses, but when you consider the difference in the loss, I think it was 4 points total in 2 losses. Ohio State lost to their rival last week, not by 4 points, not by 7, not by 14, but by like 20-something. The point here is you have to consider that. It does matter. And let's not worry about putting teams in based on big name. Let's put the best teams in based on how they're playing now, how you believe that they're going to match up. And as much as I love my Clemson Tigers, Clemson doesn't need to sniff the playoffs. I mean, we just saw them make the proper decision to put the proper player in. If that type of coaching is still that close to us, or that improper coaching is still that close to us where we're at right now, Clemson doesn't even need to spell playoff. You have to prove it. But if I can be that harsh on my own team, I can definitely say that about Ohio State. They shouldn't be in. I'd rather Bama be in. I mean, if we're talking about who should be in, I would rather TCU be in with just losing by a field goal in overtime. So I'm going to shut up on that. I'm going to let you go. Of course, the selection is tomorrow. We'll know the bowl games. We will know a lot tomorrow, and it's going to be very, very interesting. Hey, listen. Whether your team's doing great or not, but if you love college football, I will say this is the most wonderful time of the year. So I'm Brian Knight. I'm not Bobby Durkins, but who knows, Bobby Durkins might be going live here in just a few. Hit the subscribe button, turn on the notifications. That lets you know when I go live. Check out some of my older videos. And by the way, thank you to everyone who has subscribed. I just started this at the beginning of this season, and a lot of people have subscribed to it. I've had a lot of views this week for a tiny channel. And so thank you so much. If you hadn't subscribed, once again, subscribe. It's free. Pass along to anyone who likes to talk college football. I'm not Bobby Durkins. I'm Brian Knight. Tigers win the ACC championship 39-10 over an up-and-coming North Carolina team. Go Tigers.